All right. Here we go. 10 biggest mistakes WWE and Triple H made during John Cena's retirement tour. Yeah, Triple H, you made so many mistakes. One of the best to ever do it, head of creative, developed all the stars that exist today and fixed the WWE culture. You made a lot of mistakes during John Cena's retirement tour. You should be ashamed of yourself. Let's see what they got.
WWE made it with John Cena's retirement tour. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Number 10, not bringing back the spinner title. When John Cena won the WWE title at WrestleLamia,
Sweet Jesus, this is where we're starting.
Rumors that Cena was going to bring back the spinner title.
Not bringing
this
back
made
the spinner
perfect
belt.
sense, as it would have been fitting to see Cena with the title that he introduced to WWE.
This made perfect sense. Perfect sense. Absolute perfect sense. First of all, pretty much nothing in wrestling you could say makes perfect sense. It's art, it's subjective. There's a million different ways you could do angles. Just trying to like take the best idea and roll with it. But people didn't even like the spinner belt when the spinner belt first existed. They stopped making it spin when John Cena went from the gangster doctor of thugonomics gimmick to the like army saluting John, like the PG John. Like it didn't spin for half of its existence. But yeah, let's bring it back in 2025 and make it spin again.
Belt sales for the title on WWE Shop would have spoken for themselves. Whilst the title was in everyone's personal favorite design, there's no denying that it was incredibly memorable.
If you don't think that the spinner belt sales didn't go up during John Cena's retirement tour, in fact, I went to a WWE Superstore when Survivor Series was in Vancouver, and they had CM Punk spinner belts. They created new spinner belts. They had like 700 spinner belts and were mad that the spinner belt we all didn't like in the first place and criticized relentlessly wasn't on TV. Yeah, this really ruined John Cena's retirement tour. Not a good start.
Also had an opportunity to deliver something when Cena won the Intercontinental title in November 2025. Cena turning the one title he's never won to in a spinner design would have been
I would have
iconic.
actually been okay with
Yet
this.
from WWE's perspective, it probably wouldn't make much sense to change the
And it
design
doesn't
for just
make
2
perfect
weeks.
sense at all.
So we really can't hold him to that. Poor finishes. Now, John Cena was able to wrestle a number of his iconic rivals during his final run. He would have PLE main events against the likes of CM Punk and Randy Orton. Whilst the in-ring work in these matches was excellent, the finishes left a lot to be desired. Due to Cena's heel presentation and this underwhelming gimmick of him trying to ruin wrestling, the finishes were far from clean, and 2 of them even saw hard.
So you can't just say things arbitrarily like they're true because you have a YouTube channel called WrestleLamia. And the people criticizing these matches were internet trolls.
And 2 of them even saw R-Truth interfere. These types of finishes ultimately left fans
good.
wanting
They're
more.
fine. These are all
And this
dream
was
matches.
completely
Really
understandable. Even though both of these matches were heavily marketed as final encounters, fans walked away from
Fans on the
matches
internet.
feeling a little let down, as they didn't get the closure on the iconic rivalries they wanted.
So closures on rivalries, like there's storylines, those storylines get closure, but there's still overall storyline for John Cena with Cody Rhodes going on during this whole time while he's having these nostalgia matches. But you can't ditch the original storyline. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, have little fractional story? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what he's supposed to do. It's not how wrestling psychology works.
During the heel turn, Cena would debut a new promo style, where he would deliver the promo in a robotic style voice. This kind of got old extremely quickly, and Cena was compared to a cartoon.
I think the John Cena turn was
idea of
fine.
Cena
I think
wanting to ruin
a big
pro wrestling
point of the
could have
turn
worked, but it ultimately was given
was
as
the
a reason
shock
why
factor
a
of the
lot
actual
Cena's
turn
matches
itself.
were failing to
I think
deliver
John's
and
even
hit a
said
level
this
that
is somewhat
WWE
of a
fans wanted.
failure,
Cena would
but
promise
it
to
gets
leave
way
with the
more
WWE
criticism
title,
than
when
it
Cena
should.
turned
Pretty
face
much
virtually
nothing John
overnight.
Cena,
This was quickly retconned.
actually nothing John Cena has ever done, people have 100% loved. So he's always being criticized, like myself included, but everybody criticized him. So it didn't matter what he did, but the heel run was fine. The heel finishes, they're heel finishes. They're not supposed to be spectacular. And I kind of think that the heel turn for John Cena, it was the only way he felt as someone kind of at the end of his career, not in his prime, but really wanting to get that number 17. I think it's the only way he feels he could have done it. Or maybe it is the only way he could have done it, was to, cheat a little bit, get that title. Maybe you could even explain the quick babyface turn back, even though I understand. I'm sure they'll get into that. Anyways, overly criticized.
Travis Scott. The WWE has hit a home run when it comes to celebrity.
Okay. They tried to use Travis Scott, and Travis Scott didn't really do much. I think if you're adding Travis Scott showed up for a show to the biggest mistakes, is a pretty good fucking run.
Number 5, not retiring on a PLE. John Cena is one of the biggest names in WWE history, so naturally this should mean that he should be retiring on a major PLE such as WrestleMania or SummerSlam. However, at the start of the year, it was reported that Cena would be retiring at Saturday night's main event. This completely baffled fans, as the SNME specials have been treated as
So they're trying to get more eyes on Saturday main event. John Cena's last match, everyone will watch. Everyone will watch. It elevates the show itself, and John Cena did a great job himself making sure that show elevated everybody. It elevated the show, it elevated talent. I don't know, it's just, I get it, you want it to be on a major pay-per-view. This one's fine. This one's fine.
Number 4, poor planning. It would surface thanks to John Cena himself that he was willing to work every single week during his retirement tour. Granted, this kind of schedule may have been extreme on Cena's body, but it would have been appreciated if they at least met him halfway and had him work more dates. Cena was only going to do 36 dates, and this is baffling because he could have done at least double this. Numerous matches such as those against
I actually didn't know that, and I agree, if he did more dates, he could build stuff, that'd be great, but I almost guarantee you the money it would have cost for them to do that was substantial, and it's not Vince's WWE anymore, it's TKO. They're looking at dollars and cents, but yeah, if we're just looking at it as if he was around more and they could have built stuff more, they would have been better, of course.
Number 3, the pivot. Now, around a month into John Cena's heel run, there were complaints on social media that the run just wasn't working. The cartoonish voice, the baffling motivations were all alienating factors, and the heel presentation was massively hindering the quality of Cena's work in his matches. There were urgent calls for WWE to pivot and then revert him back into a babyface, and WWE did this.
It's just so dramatic.
On the road to SummerSlam.
Cody Rhodes was a heel, Randy Orton was a heel. You got to think, if these are all a bunch of characters that just intermingle in this universe of pro wrestling, you could, I'm sorry, I realized I was a dick. And it's pro wrestling, like, calm the fuck down.
Heel run. Number 2, Gunther. When it was reported that Gunther would be John Cena's final ever opponent, there was initially some criticism. Some questioned why Cena wasn't retiring against a new young star, as Gunther was already a former 2-time world champion, and he certainly didn't need a huge win against Cena. WWE has been urged to implement youth
maybe this is why I'm still on the indies and wrestle for like a few hundred people every second weekend. I was under the impression that my job as a pro wrestler is to suspend disbelief and make it look like a real fight. And Gunther's pretty fucking good at that. Like, is he not doing enough moonsaults for you or what? And then the younger talent thing, one, trying to establish a gimmick of Gunther being so badass and so ruthless and not giving a shit about how you feel as fans or about John Cena's end of his career. Like, I don't give a shit. That's the type of heel I am. And I'm tough enough to do what I say and to humiliate you in your final match. You're building this character, this I retire legends, kind of like the new age legend killer. That was like a thing for a while. It's almost like they're trying to do a thing with a gimmick. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand it. And saying Gunther doesn't need the win, he also doesn't need another loss. Like, he lost to Jey Uso at WrestleMania, which was the right decision. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Like, again, subjective, but it worked, in my opinion, fine. But he has to take that loss, and then he takes a loss to CM Punk. Gunther became the biggest heel WWE has overnight. Yeah, I'm just going to end it here. I think that's it for me for that video because it's going to get too long because I'm going to keep ranting. But we need to remember the algorithm's trying to feed you negativity and get you to hate wrestling because they're making more engagement and views by talking about how dumb wrestling is, even though like half the stuff they were talking about were dream matches and awesome. And it's pro wrestling. Just relax, enjoy it. Like, don't need to have these guys rally up. I'm not saying don't watch them. Like, watch them if it entertains you, but think for yourself because there's a lot of really bad takes there. If you like this honesty, this kind of style, this reactions, if you want to hear more from a wrestler point of view, like, subscribe, do whatever the thing.